drop the beat.
Welcome everybody to the Boop Scoop. I am the alien subbing in for Ace Wright, and always with me is the Boomer. This, of course, is your Overwatch League vodcast, I think I called it. That's something.
It's on Twitch.
It's not video. A podcast. It is a video. It's a video cast. It's a live show every Sunday night at 7 o'clock, recapping what you love about the Overwatch League. Now, we're going to tell you something very serious. This paper's blank because we're flying by the seat of our pants.
And so is that. So we don't even know what we're
Well, that's a chat box.
Well, usually we have the...
They're going to pop up below. So let's start off with, let's talk about what happened. Stage 2, week 2. Look at that.
Boop Scoop.
That's technology right
nice.
there. So we had this discussion just a couple minutes ago on a little bit of an uneventful week.
It was a boring week.
It was.
It was a boring week. 3 1s, 4 0s.
And
the entertaining games weren't entertaining.
No, I mean, there were some very entertaining maps and very entertaining team fights, but overall matches themselves weren't that great.
One match that went to 5 games. Philly-Houston.
Philly-Houston.
Everything else 4 0s.
Which is our match of the week.
Yep.
But I mean, if you talk about like the that Route 66 map for Dallas.
Yeah.
Was an intense map to watch.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally. They finally did something, that map.
So what happened to Dallas this week? In your professional opinion.
Dallas lost Seoul 3-1. 3-1 loss. A good Dallas team lost.
Yeah.
I was not mad based on that.
All right.
They went in. I expected Seoul to come out and win. You know, Dallas still finding their footing, but Dallas played well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then they went in against who was it? Valiant.
Yeah. Now I feel like this should have been a good Dallas team should have won that match.
Valiant?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The team that showed up against Seoul, if they would have came out against Valiant, would have done a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas didn't complete a map until the 4th map.
Yeah.
So.
There was such a, and I wish we had a clip. I was thinking about having a clip, and then I was just so busy today. But where they showed, usually they'll show us like the in-game talk.
Yeah.
And they showed Mickey. Mickey backing away from the desk, saying, "Everybody stop! We have to call things out. You have to call things out."
He took control of that situation. He was. It looked like he was kind of directed more towards XQC.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, but he was definitely relaying the message that we need to slow it down, make your calls. If you're coming off point, say it. You know.
And that's one thing we've noticed as being very important is, I mean, calling is important. Even on the pro levels, they suffer at it. Watching XQC stream, watching him go ham as Monkey is really, really fun, but he's completely silent while he does it.
He does not talk typically in his streams when he's just playing
especially
solo.
when it's a really intense moment, he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, and I mean, you see that trickling down from pros to our level. I mean, to where if you're playing a competitive match and you're not making calls, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, it's almost a guaranteed loss.
The professionals. I mean, when you watch some of the videos on Dallas, they say we need better we need shot calling, we need better call outs, and they're not talking. So,
I mean, none of that they had talked about, and we'll get to the flex stuff a little bit later. But the big difference: why is EQO a bigger difference than Shadowburn? Or why does the rest of the team look better in Philadelphia when EQO's there? And they said because EQO talks better than Shadowburn does.
Yeah, I mean, look at Shadowburn. Look at his. I mean, just his facial features. Yeah. I mean, he looks like he's just silent.
Yep. Looks like Carpe's the same way.
Yeah, but it looks like it transitions into his gameplay also. And EQO looks like a guy that's going to talk, and he does, and they've mentioned it.
Yep. Now, there were a lot of cool different things, and we'll do, before we get out of our recap, there was a cool, I don't know if you got to see any of the special little things they did. The lemons for leukemia.
Yeah.
Doa won a special spot for me. Because I'm not a fan of Doa.
No.
But when he just grabbed that lemon and bit into it, just ripped it away, when Monty just took like the littlest bite.
Yeah, I mean,
like, yes.
It made it more fun. You're like, all right, I hate you guys talking, but doing something like that is fun, and a little bit more respect for
Uber throwing a stool at Mr. X.
Yeah, no, I think that's just a couple's quarrel right there.
Yeah. And then they did that planking challenge. I can't remember who it was for.
Yeah.
But Malik did it, so we did it.
Yeah.
And it was just a good time.
Yeah,
they're doing well.
You you see so much more fan interaction coming from the Overwatch League. You see stuff like this where they're involving the fans, the commentators. You see Blizzard, game developers who will take the signs and show you Zenyatta walking or Torb wall climbing. They're so much more engaged with the fans, and I really like that.
Which is good. This is how people when you say, oh, is it like they had the CS:GO championships or they had these championships? It's not the same.
No.
Number one, not only because it's league play, but because they really have developed this very well.
Yeah, they really want everyone to get involved with it, not just the players, not just the commentators.
And then, week 7 of the exact same thing, you'd imagine that we'd have a low league week, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you'd imagine that people would start leaving, and they're still grabbing viewers like crazy.
Yeah, it's still 150,000 every day at least.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you see big games coming up like New York and Houston or New York, Seoul, you see 200,000+. Yeah. So,
let's talk about teams changing out their heroes. Thank you. Teams changing out their heroes this week. Dallas had some little bit of change arounds, and when they were able to flex, when they pulled off of those characters that they were important, or that they normally played, they started to see a different change.
Yeah.
And this is always the number one thing, when they talk about it at our level of play, which is gold level play, by the way, we figured out this week.
Know when to change.
It's the one tricks.
Yeah.
And you would imagine at a pro level that doesn't exist, but in some cases, it might not be a one trick, but it's a 3 trick.
Well, you definitely saw Dallas play. So on the switching, Dallas, it was horrible in the Mercy meta. And you saw this week they're playing Mercy, and they're playing
crazy.
Horrible.
Yeah,
but then when
chips would not switch off.
You have Harry Hook that's switching from like a Mercy onto a Lucio,
yeah.
and you have Custa running a Zen and getting out of this Mercy meta that's happening. They played so well.
Yeah,
it was night and day, and then they kept going back to the Mercy, and it was trash. Yeah. So, I mean, they know when to switch, but it just seems like they go back to their old ways.
And especially in this meta where there is no absolute hero every map.
Yeah.
Even in the DPS, there is no, other than maybe Tracer, there's no almost absolute hero. No. So why would you stick with it?
Yeah, and I feel like a flex player that you're going to see a lot is, in these maps specifically, Widowmaker. You're going to see Widow come on for one stretch of a payload, part of a point, and then you're going to see them switch off to a soldier or something, anything different. But like Watch Point Gibraltar, you see right at the start, you see Widow all the time, or that end stretch, and then they'll switch off.
Yep.
So
saw a lot of Hanzo this week. Hanzo on attack.
Yeah,
that was exciting.
I
to
saw
watch.
Libro for New York play Hanzo on where was it? Kings Row.
Yeah.
Just dominating, picking off Houston with no problem. But not just him. I saw a ton of Hanzo.
Yeah. And then another flex was in the map 4 of the Philadelphia-Houston game. Obviously, this is when things started to really turn around for them, was when Shadowburn switched to Sombra.
Yeah.
And started just dominate, especially after Dayfly was Sombra on that first map and was just getting.
And you wonder how if they're gonna run Sombra like they do now when the changes come in, where the health pack hacks no longer go towards the ult. I mean, even though you can still hack people even faster, and it's gonna build your ult almost just as fast. We kind of see maybe a little bit slower, but are they gonna play that hacking, that backline hacking like they used to? Because before it was just rely on health packs, get an EMP, drop the EMP. And just rinse and repeat. Yeah. So,
and then Dallas is another team that we've seen the very first of the teams to start saying, okay, we brought in AKM. Let's have some of our guys start switching roles.
Yeah. So not only are we flexing people, we're flexing roles completely. Where you have Seagull and Taimu going to tanks. I mean, Taimu was one of the best hit scans in the world. Seagull argued for the same as one of the better Pharah, Junkrat, Genjis out there, and now they're both going to play tanks. So you saw Taimu playing a lot of Roadhog, Reinhardt. His streaming now is almost all tank.
Yeah.
And Seagull even told him, I'm taking myself out. I'm going to learn how to play these tanks, and then I'm going to come back.
And then Houston towards the end, Jake switching to Roadhog.
Yeah.
Was interesting.
Jake on King's Row looked really well as Roadhog. He held point by himself.
Yeah.
He was fighting the overtime there at the end. Just him. And he looked really good, which is something you're not going to always see. You expect the Junkrat He played some Tracer this week, which I thought was kind of weak. His Tracer play, especially like Route 66, I thought he looked kind of bad. But his Roadhog looked really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, I mean, look more to that. We're week 2 of... It's where we get kind of a little bit of issues, because we're in week 2 of stage 2, and if you see these teams now, you're thinking, okay, well, it looks like they're playing for the stage title.
Yeah.
As we get into, and I'm sure that stage 3 will be a little bit more intense with this, some of these teams are running away with the league standings.
Yeah.
New York, of course, is going crazy on it. When Philly beat Houston, I look at that and go, let me look at the standings. Well, Philly and Houston are tied with a +8 map differential on Philly, but with a +22 on Houston's side.
Yeah, now, if you look at the overall standings, even though, win-loss for Houston and Philly is 9-5, Houston has a 16, +16 over Philly, +17 to +1. For Houston to Philly. So, but you look at New York, +30 map differential, and second is Seoul with a +19.
Yeah.
So you look at those guys, and they're gonna keep winning. These teams are gonna win. Seoul, London, New York, they're always gonna be fighting for the top spot. And then you look at teams at the bottom that you're like, oh, they look really good this stage. Teams like San Francisco, Dallas, Gladiators, teams that were poor, but you're like, they're improving.
Yeah.
But they're so far back in the map differential. You look at Dallas -11, San Francisco -12.
Yeah.
So they're 40 maps behind New York.
Yeah. And I mean, thinking about when Shanghai is going to get their new players, when they're going to start to win, they're 0-14 with a -43 map differential.
Point, regardless of what happens, they're out.
Yeah, they're at least out of the championship, and they're maybe another match or another 0-4 match away from being out of the playoffs completely.
Yeah,
mathematically eliminated.
I think they're out. I mean, you look at it; they have a 73.
Unless they start dominating, obviously they could go. But at the end of stage, if we look at them at the end of stage 2, and they're still sitting at the exact same record that they're at, I mean, Florida's in the same boat.
Yeah,
Florida's only beat Shanghai.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, you look at a team like Shanghai, even if they just dominate, they're 73 maps behind New York in first place.
That's a lot.
73 maps.
Yeah, they would need to dominate with 4-0s.
Yeah, every single time, which we understand it's not going to happen.
No.
Their players will probably make them better. I mean, having that change, but I think at this point they're playing to get themselves better, and yet they're still playing for stage championships.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a great part about stage championships is you still have something to work for each time.
It's true.
Regardless, I mean, if you're going to make the final playoffs or not, if you go 12-0, one stage, you're going to win the championship.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that's what they have to look for.
That is true. Yeah, maybe a stage 3 or a stage 4.
Yeah.
Title.
So it allows them to come in not fully beaten.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they have to come into matches just down on themselves.
It's true.
Because of how it's going. But the stage, matches allow them to be like, well, at least we can win the championship in our stage.
So let's go into our match of the week. And really the only match there were matches that had maps that were super competitive, but there was no match that was as nail biting and as back and forth as that Houston Philly.
Yeah.
So it starts off very squarely in Houston's corner. Map 1 Volskaya. They couldn't get an ult off. Shadowburn was all over the place. First of all, they come out with Shadowburn and Dayfly on the team.
Yeah.
Dayfly playing the Sombra, which he ended up getting to 1 EMP and getting killed before he could use it.
Yeah.
He was just not there.
No, it was steamroll from Houston.
Yeah.
Which is how you look at maps like Volskaya. It's going to be a steamroll or it's going to be a really good push. You see overtimes or you're going to see that steamroll, and they came out flying, and Philly had no way to answer.
No, not at all.
No, and it was the same thing for Nepal. I mean, even though, control maps, you're like, okay, there's a little bit more of a fight there.
Especially being that Philly actually leads. I know they lead in appearances of the control maps. I believe they lead in wins on control. Just because Philly tends to be that good, they take a lot of matches 3 and 2, which hurts their overall standing, which is why they're only at a +1, but they're still in 6th place.
But, I mean, they did have Shadowburn and Carpe in for that.
Yeah, they had Shadowburn in that whole time, and you can definitely see... So we've never really had an idea. We got to see Shadowburn at his best. We got to see, and then it was either Shadowburn is really, really good or Shadowburn gets shut down.
Yeah.
We never really saw Shadowburn not do well because there was nobody to compare him to.
Yeah.
Looking at EQO, knowing how somebody can stay in the back line, just building up alt charge, and then all of a sudden he's behind you. We don't know how he got behind you. And then he takes out 3 of your team.
He gets a couple with the blade every time.
Yeah.
But I still feel like we need more time. I think this was a Shadowburn fluke more. I think he is better than what he played there.
I won't lie, against London, he looked real bad.
Yeah.
He was way out of position.
You got to wonder if the EQO is affecting him.
Yeah, maybe.
Does that put more pressure on Shadowburn to come out and perform, and it's causing him, maybe anxiety to where he's going to underperform?
The other thing is Fraggy seems to perform better when EQO's there. Now, Fraggy is generally their shot caller.
Yeah.
And they said the issue with Shadowburn is that Shadowburn
doesn't talk.
So I'm wondering if Fraggy is just not, maybe his game sense is not where it needs to be, and he's really relying on everybody.
Yeah.
Because you can tell he's out of placement a lot.
I mean, then again, Shadowburn and EQO have 2 different playstyles as Genji.
It's true.
One is a frontline Genji where he's going to do that. Shadowburn was that, silent assassin, EQO called him. So you got to think, does the team and Fraggy play better with that style of Genji compared to the flanking where Fraggy can see the Genji, make the calls, and
for sure. And it really, as we go into map 3, so halftime comes back. They come back strong, to say the least.
Yes.
But Carpe, Shadowburn, and I would even say Neptuno, maybe even Boombox, are almost a hard carry for that team.
Yeah, you look at guys like Fraggy. Fraggy is not a great tank.
He's a really great Reinhardt. His monkey is not great.
His monkey is not good, and you could compare him to guys like Coco for Dallas, where his Reinhardt was really good, but his monkey play was.
And you also can tell when Poco is being forced to pocket, when he's being forced to pull back because he's not doing as well. But luckily, it started to turn up for him. But where it really started to turn the thing, I do professionally, host, well, whatever. Map 4, Route 66, this is what I already talked about. Carpe goes off,
which
like
is
nuts.
what they needed.
Yeah.
And I feel like, the thing is like this map, or no, I didn't actually see how Jake played on this map. I was thinking the New York game. But yeah, no, Philly looked like the Philly, almost like they did in the beginning of stage 1, where you're like,
you're like, who are these people?
Man,
what are they doing?
Who's Philly? You know, they're a good team, and that's what they look like. Which 2 maps prior, you were like, man, apart. This Philly
and
is.
And you know what? And I'm talking 100% about Philly because I'm the Philly fan.
Yes.
But I will say that not only did Philly look bad, Muma was insane on those first 2 maps. Oh. Yeah. I got City Walk. I don't have.
Oh yeah.
London's behind the camera. Yeah. But Muma was insane on that first map.
Muma
is insane. Muma is insane, except for you see him every once in a while make a mistake.
Yeah.
And a team. So who did they play last week? They played
Houston.
Houston played.
Oh, it's on your that sheety thing. I'm not.
Apologize, everybody. No, it's not. This is all this week.
Boy, some
Flipping
people
it over?
not even ready.
Nope.
There you go, right there.
Valiant.
Houston
was it the Houston Valiant team or the Houston? No, it was Houston Valiant.
Yeah.
Watching
Houston,
those
Florida.
2 play each other, Valiant making mistake after mistake, and Lynx are being out of position, Raucus being out of position, Muma pushing himself forward for no reason and stuff. It was just insane to watch. And Philly should be a team like London. And you talk about the anti-match of the week when London played Philadelphia.
Ooh.
Every single mistake, Bedoson's there just to
capitalize.
A nano boosted Bedoson is there to headshot people for no reason. I'm going, okay.
Against a team like London, you make one
mistake, you make a mistake and it falls apart. And Philly has been that way. Carpe has been sitting there waiting for you to stand out, but if he gets pegged in the head and then if Shadowburn can't follow it up, it falls apart.
But I feel like I truly feel that Muma is getting less credit than what he deserves.
It's true. Absolutely,
his monkey play is amazing. Top of the league, monkey play, and no one really talks about it. But the way he disrupts the team diving in, I mean, what he can do to like a Genji as a
he's
monkey.
up there with Miro for sure.
Yeah. But no one seems to talk about it.
No, it's because that team is so Jake focused.
It really is.
Yeah. Jake and then Raucus a little bit gets a lot of help. Raucus is actually good. Jake kind of seems like a little bit of a slow skill.
Jake you're seeing him slow down. He came in stage 1, and you're like, okay, but they were playing him on the guys that he was, his Junkrat.
Of
he
course.
was killing it. Now you have him playing Effect. I'm so used to Tracer. You have him coming in as Tracer, and he looked weak.
And not only that, you can go through an entire match or an entire stage and sit there and go, how do we deal with this guy? And then you can start a new stage and go, all right, we know how to deal with this guy.
Yeah, we know exactly.
What
and
else
I feel
do you
like
have?
now in stage 2, you're seeing all that.
Now, I mean, if there's a name I'm hearing a lot, it's Linkser.
Yeah. Well, Linkser is definitely their bread and butter, their Widow, the hit scan.
Yeah, for sure. And then, of course, map 5, which is unfortunately where Philly just shines. They are they are a little bit better than the Gladiators as far as a brawl team, I think.
They looked good.
Yeah, they can handle themselves in a.
I mean, Houston played better map 5 compared to only taking point A on Hollywood, and then not taking anything in map 4, and then they came in and got a map in map 5. They got one, forced it to a 2-1, but man, Philly just overwhelmed them. I feel
it's how they should have been playing the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's so it was a little bit of a slow week, but if you were looking for an exciting match, that was something really to watch out for. Those were the exciting matches. Those weren't the most exciting plays, though, and that's where we take ourselves to our Impact Players of the Week. And I wanted to go quiet for a second because I feel like something should go in front of us and it's a letdown.
Jason here says Jake is one of the weaker Tracers in. Definitely.
Yeah.
But the thing is you're used to seeing Jake play that Soldier 76, the Jake Rat, as they crowned it, when he was playing that.
Just spray and pray and
spam. And, that is what he was playing, and as his Tracer, it seemed weak.
Yeah. Who is their usual Tracer go-to?
I don't even know.
Yeah. That's the thing. Some of these teams are carried by their Tracers. I mean, you think about Stryker. You think about
Saebyeolbe.
Oh my gosh!
I would say Dallas is Effect, but I think Effect on Tracer is slowly just declining.
He needs some work.
I mean, you look at this week against Soon. He was not able. Soon just dominated on the Tracer.
Soon is crazy on Tracer.
In Effect, I think is just kind of.
Yeah.
I think that whole team is doing it, but
that team is trying to flex into something, and I think they're flexing into something well.
Yeah.
It's just you can definitely tell that they're having growing pains.
Before it was Effect was hard carrying, and now he's not. So
it's kind of sad to see that they might still be having some internal squabbles.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how are you going to build on something if you're also just going to be talking to each other like that?
Yeah.
So, but maybe if Mickey really starts to take the lead, that could be good.
But anyways, let's move into the Impact Players.
Let's play those Impact Players of the Week. Munchkin. Munchkin is on Soul.
They don't need Bunny.
Okay.
I mean,
good.
it was a Bunny show.
I should have stated that as a statement, not a question.
Yeah, it was the Bunny show on Soul.
It was.
And they brought Munchkin in, and Munchkin dominated.
Especially being that, I will say, at least in stage 1, that's your dryer, man. We launder things at the studio.
Yes. Yes.
At least in stage 1, when they would bring Munchkin in, it was kind of like, why are you bringing Munchkin in right now? I know you probably want him for a specific hero.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, eh. But
why?
this week he popped off.
He dominated. Yeah. He proved that he needs to be on the roster.
Yeah.
Up on that starter. I mean, he killed it.
And who are they switching him out for?
Bunny.
Yeah, Bunny. Okay. He said that.
Bunny. But yeah, I mean, they were just dominating.
Yeah.
At Munchkin.
And I definitely feel that Soul is a team that halfway through stage 1 was kind of looked at as, yeah, you were supposed to be the top team. You're kind of falling into being the head of the middle pack.
Yeah, you're almost.
Yeah,
and you're gonna see yourself as 3rd and 4th.
Yeah,
almost. You see
and they
London
don't want
New York, and then you see Houston, Soul, Valiant fighting for that 3rd and 4th spot.
Yeah, and then apparently Soul is not having it.
No, Soul said, you know what? Let's be the team we were supposed to be. Yeah. Let's be the number 1 team that everyone thought we would be and dominate. Even though I think Dallas gave them a run.
Yeah, they usually do.
But
2 stages in a row now, Dallas actually put up a real fight.
Yeah.
I mean, that very simply could have gone to a map 5. That was a crucial team fight. It came down to a matter of inches.
Yeah.
Meters.
Meters, yes.
On that Route 66 map. So it really, that could have gone either way.
I mean, but you look at Seoul, and like we're saying, Munchkin as one of our impact players was doing so well playing Tracer.
Yeah.
And you have the supports as Toby and Jae-Hung. I mean, probably two of the best support duos in the league.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and Munchkin went nuts. I'm excited to see more of him.
I am.
I am now more excited to hear his name when they say they're subbing in Munchkin, and I'm fine with them doing sub-offs.
To be honest, I think it's going to be they're subbing in Bunny.
Yeah.
I think it's Munchkin is starting. I mean, the way he's
at least
playing,
for this map pool for sure.
Yeah, you can't take him out the way he's playing.
Yeah.
I almost felt like they did that for EQO on Philly, where you're like, you really want to put in Shadowburn? EQO was crushing it.
Yeah.
And
some of these teams are still spending some time really trying to figure out what their best roster is.
But Munchkin dominated.
Yeah. And then let's go to who I mean, in all fairness, I have a team that I'm a fan of, but I have a team that I believe is the best team currently in the Overwatch
New York XL.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's because of multiple guys, but Saebyeolbe on the Tracer.
Yeah, and they may fall apart, and they fall apart several times to London now. London is their 100% rival.
Yes.
But London you watch have problems at map 1 every time. Map 1 always starts poorly for London.
London starts slow regardless if they're playing New York or Shanghai.
Yeah.
Map 1 is always a close game, and then London, like literally their coach comes over the mic and says, "Hey guys, we're London," and they're like, "Oh, cool, dominate."
Yeah, but every single time New York walks out, and every single time, every map you just hear Uber or Doa or Semler yelling Saebyeolbe's name because it's insane. Saebyeolbe
against Houston. I was watching. Houston had no business fighting Saebyeolbe. His Tracer game was so much better on the Tracer. 1v1 Tracer against Jake.
Yeah, I feel like his Tracer does more damage than like normal Tracer.
Yeah, Saebyeolbe's Tracer is buffed.
Yeah, how does he get his own Tracer?
They have one just specifically for him. He is just that good. His positioning is so well. His flanking is so well. His tracking is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, his pulse bombs are always exactly what they need to be, who they need to be. He's taking out the supports in the back line.
And Tracer seems to be a little bit meta-proof.
Yeah,
or at least seems to have been a little bit meta-proof.
That's what the
he
pros
even
have
nerfed
said.
her pulse bomb, and she still is fine.
They ask pros, watching in their streams, they say, "Hey, who's the one hero you don't ever see leaving the game?" And it's Tracer.
Yeah,
everyone knows Tracer is here to stay.
Yeah.
Blizzard developers have come out and said, "No, we're not." Jeff has come out and said, we're not going to change her one bit.
Tracer is their player. I mean, they changed her once. They reduced her pulse bomb from being like a mini diva bomb, which was insane.
Yeah. The mic says he can one clip the best of them, which he can. He's perfect. He's got the headshots.
That's what I'm saying.
He's got the tracking. I mean, if you put him up against any sort of squishy, you put him up against supports or another Tracer, and he's just going to dominate.
Yeah. And you keep hearing Soon as the best Tracer of the league.
And I think Soon can hold against his own.
Soon can definitely hold him,
and I think Soon came in higher thoughts than Saebyeolbe, but Saebyeolbe has proven that
absolutely
he is easy top 3 Tracer in this league
for sure. In any case, let's do that was week 2 of stage 2. Let's talk about how we did personally. And I'm hurt because you all voted against Philly to lose to Houston.
Listen.
But that didn't happen. Even though I did just... See, there you go. There's my honesty. I did talk trash about them for a bunch, and then...
Listen, I went again. I picked Dallas in 2 maps that I knew they wouldn't win. Yep. So...
but for the most part, a lot of these were called pretty well. I think... Yeah, except for we all took Dallas over Valiant.
We did.
We did.
That was...
That did not pan out.
Which should have been, I feel. I feel like they should have.
And we also all took, for some reason, or the majority of us took Dallas over Seoul.
Well, yeah.
We did.
I mean, I took Dallas over Seoul.
Nate did not.
You look at stage one Dallas, their one great game was against Seoul.
Yeah.
I figured they came out in week 1. They played so much better. The comp had changed, to where you're not running the Mercy. And then you see them come out and run a Mercy.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Not only run a Mercy, but run a Mercy every map.
Every map.
Every loss.
You have guys like Harry Hook come out, who is a great Lucio, probably one of the top Lucios, I think, in the game right now. And you have Custu, who can play Moira better than anyone else. He's great at Zenyatta, and then you run a Mercy comp.
Yeah.
Stop!
Yeah.
Do what
she's got her place, but she's not.
No,
not what
do
she was.
what you're used to. Don't run this.
Right. And then with Chris's pick of the Valiant over Dallas, that actually put him ahead in our personal pool at 10-2. You and Nate are tied at 9-3. I'm sitting at 8-4.
Not bad.
Not at all. But let's talk about next week. I should have really prepared this. Next week kind of has.
I think it's obvious games.
It has obvious games. I would love to see a competitive week, because a competitive week next week means some real change up for the league.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we're used to seeing New York, London, Seoul be up top, and having some good games would really. But I don't think this week is going to give us that.
No. So Seoul over Shanghai and Dallas over San Francisco. We both took the favored Seoul and Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas versus San Francisco. If Dallas doesn't look good, there's a real.
That's
problem.
the thing is I think San Francisco is playing a lot better in this meta, and I think it might be a hard game for Dallas. I think Dallas needs to come out and play the game we just talked about. Run the supports you're used to, run the characters that you can play, and they'll win that.
Yeah, and, take out Baby Bay, and for the most part, you're going to start to see some crumbling.
Yeah.
And so the most part, we all took those picks. Valiants over Gladiators, the Battle of L.A. Now, this ended in a 3-2 reverse sweep from Valiant.
Reverse sweep? Yeah.
You guys all took Valiant. I think Gladiators have it.
I think Gladiators are in the same boat as San Francisco, where this stage they're going to be a lot better. They're going to be more competitive. But I just feel like just watching Soon play the Tracer.
It's true. You're wrong.
Even though Gladiators does have a good brawling team.
And they tend to play better for these matches.
Yeah, but I feel like Valiant will pull this one out.
We get a little bit shaky in the Thursday matchup. Dave took Philly over Seoul.
Poor choice.
Bring it on.
Bold strategy,
Bring
Dave. We'll see how it pays off in the
end. See EQO on the field and take Seoul down.
I think you have to.
Yep.
You have to play EQO in that situation.
Oh, absolutely. Of course, we all took Houston over the Valiant.
Except for Chris, yeah.
Except for Chris. King Valiant is his team. And I think that Valiant is definitely a safe pick. But Houston is such a boom or bust. If they're on, they're going to dominate.
I feel like it's tough because you see Valiant, how they played against New York. They made some poor decisions, especially at the end of Kings Row there. Their defense there was so bad.
Yeah.
But I feel like Houston will come back out, and I don't think the Valiant will have an answer for them.
We don't see Shanghai taking, SHD, Shanghai Dragons. We don't see Shanghai taking on Boston. In any other different
Boston
thing.
is not what they were in Stage 1.
No.
They are who they were in Stage 1.
That's true.
Let me clarify. They started off poorly in Stage 1, got better.
Week 2 Boston and Week 2 Boston
Yep,
are the same
and
team.
I feel like Boston here is the same. They're bad, and I mean, is this a game that's going to raise them up to that next level? Just maybe a 4-0 win over Shanghai?
Yeah, they need it. And at Shanghai, we still don't believe that they have their new players next week.
No.
If they had their new players next week, I would say that is a highly competitive game. Number one, because Boston wouldn't know what to expect, which is a big deal. And then number two, because Shanghai will be a better team. But if Boston's the same as they are in Week 2, Shanghai's worse.
Do we
than
know
they
what
were
Shanghai is doing with their players right now? That's the thing. Are they
practicing
able to
with them?
practice? Are they able to scrim with them?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. We all took London over Boston. That's an easy pick. New York over Philly.
You say that, but look at last time. Who gave London their loss? Who was the upset? It was Boston over London that started the whole now anyone can win.
That is
so
true.
will it be
You're
the
not
same
wrong.
Boston where they start poorly and they meet London, beat them, and then just raise to the top of the table?
That is very true.
But I still take London.
Currently, we all pick London on that one. New York over Philly. There was a D next to Philly, but Dave
can't
moved over
believe
to
you
New
win
York.
against your own team.
I don't want to. I would
can't
love to
believe
see
it.
New York, but New York is just so good.
They are. They really are
It's
the best
hard.
team. And how do you go against the best
It's
team?
true, and I mean, if Philly takes Seoul, and that's the other thing is when you think about Philly, who are they preparing for this week? Are they preparing for Seoul? Are they preparing for New York? Because both of those are top teams.
Yeah.
And then to lose to London, you just had to play London, Seoul, and New York.
I think you
number
prepare,
1, 2, and 3.
I think you take wins where you can get them. I
Yeah.
think you prepare for Seoul.
Yeah.
Mostly, and then you I mean, at this point, everyone knows everybody. You know who's gonna run what. So
yeah, I see Philly finding cracks in Seoul. I don't see them finding it in New York.
Yeah.
Especially, I think New York's gonna shut down.
Because we talked about New York. Once you make that one mistake, they just jump on it. They capitalize, and you're done. The
and then if it's 1v1, Saebyeolbe versus Carpe, it's Saebyeolbe.
It's Saebyeolbe.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Then do you have Shadowburn in?
No. You still throw an EQO.
Well, that's. What
I would like to see. I could put Shadowburn in Boombox's spot.
Okay.
That'd be interesting. I want to see that. All right. Listen to me. And we all took Houston over Florida because Florida's trash.
Because Florida's bad. And we say this for Shanghai. Shanghai has to win a match eventually. You can't lose every match. Okay, Florida can't
be the
Shanghai.
Detroit Lions.
You know,
you can't be
the Cleveland Browns. Come on, Cleveland Browns. This is Lions old news. Yeah. So you can't always lose, and they have to win one. Yeah. But no,
and Florida every single week looks. Everybody, they're looking
Florida,
better. Florida looking competitive. Yeah, they play like one level below who they're playing. If
Florida
they play
needs
New
to
York,
pick up people.
If they play New York, you're gonna go, man, they looked really good against New York, and then they're gonna lose to Shanghai next week because they play just below the level of whoever they play.
Yeah.
Where'd that leave off? So Houston, we all took that, and then the Saturday matches: London versus Gladiators. The desk says London. New York versus San Francisco. Again, the desk says New York. And Dallas versus Florida. If Dallas wipes the floor with San Francisco, Dallas should take care of Florida.
Dude, this is a tough matchup. I think this is one of the harder matchups. Is Dallas
versus Florida?
It's because Dallas doesn't know what they want to do.
You
know, they have that internal struggle. They're not talking. They usually play to the team that they're going against. You know, great against Seoul. Come out against a weaker Valiant team.
So you're predicting or in the case of other than what you're actually picking.
Yeah, I am going with Dallas, but
you would see Logic and Tavik taking out Mickey and XQC and then them running with it
for sure.
That could be something.
I mean, because Florida isn't bad. Their players aren't bad.
No.
Logic is a good tracer player.
I love Tavik. I love.
Yeah. Yep.
So Swoosh is a great tank.
I really think Florida needs to pick up more players to where they're not relying on the same comp. They can flex over to things.
They're tired. They're all scrimming every week.
I'll go with Dallas, but I think Dallas will make it a harder time for themselves than it is.
And especially being that, again, it goes to if they're planning for San Francisco, if they're planning for Florida.
This is their week.
It's true.
I mean, you're playing
Florida. This should be a week that they do very well.
I mean, the only difference could be if San Francisco was Shanghai. Then it would be the best week ever.
Yeah.
But this is the second best you could ask for. You have the number 2 and number 3 worst teams in the league.
Yeah.
Please win Dallas.
As a personal
plea this is
from
for
us.
you, Dallas.
In any case, we appreciate you guys, everybody who joined us, everybody in the comments. We're going to try to get this as a podcast every week. So if you'd like to check that out, that's facebook.com/WampaSlayer. If you want to talk to me, I am the Alien512 on Twitter and all other media.
And I'm Boomer09411, which this is my page. So
this is your Twitch page.
I mean, unless you're hosting and they're on Wampa Slayer.
am not. Because
okay, well then never mind.
We very quickly put the stream together at the last minute.
Yes, we did.
But in any case, at Wampa Media for everything on Twitter. Join us back next week, Stage 2, Week 3. We'll have that recap at 7 o'clock right here on Twitch.